Welcome back students to this lecture series. It is arranged for TYBSc students for skill based paper, that is waste management. Through this lecture series we are dealing with different waste management processes which are occurring in different types of industries and in different types of countries. So today we are going to do the introduction of about solid waste management. Recap, students, in the last lecture we have started with the introductory part of wastewater treatment or wastewater management, where we saw different conventional wastewater treatment processes such as primary treatment, secondary treatment, and then we saw tertiary treatment in our last lecture, which is an advanced method of treatment. Our today's session agenda is to introduce what is actually a solid waste. After all this treatment, that is wastewater treatment, a solid material is remained. So what to do of that solid? So we have to manage all this solid which comes from different types of industries, from household, from agriculture. How to manage it? What to do about that solid? So we are doing we are going to study this solid waste management, where we are going to start with introduction to solid waste management. Then we are going to see what is the exact definition of this solid waste management, different types of solids. As I told you earlier, we are going to see different types of solids, characteristics of solid, what are different characteristics of solids, and then we are going to see different sources of solid waste, and then how to manage all these solid waste. So students, today we are going to see all these points. Our learning objective today is first introduction to solid waste management. Then we are going to see definition, characteristics, sources and management, how to do in regard to solid waste management. Now if we see solid waste in India, of about 7.2 million tons of hazardous waste is created every year. For that, 1 square kilometer of additional landfill area every year is required for dumping all that hazardous waste. For this process of about rupees 1600 crore is required for treatment and disposable for all these waste process. In addition to this, industries discharge about 150 million tons of high volume of low hazard waste every year, now which is mostly dumped on the open lowland areas. So this is the scenario of our India. Waste. Students, first of all we will see what is a waste. So waste, it is any unwanted or useless material, we call it as a waste. Also this waste is also called as rubbish, trash, refuse, garbage and junk. In the photo you can see all that unwanted material, okay, which is discharged from different types of areas. It is discharged in one dumping ground and it is called as a waste. Now since the beginning humankind has been generating the waste, but with the progress of civilization, the standard of living of people is increasing day by day. So with the process of civilization, the waste became more and more complex in nature. Now what is solid waste management? What is solid waste? It is non-liquid, non-soluble material which is ranging from municipal garbage to industrial waste, which contain complex and sometimes hazardous substances. So it is called as a solid waste. The source may be from municipal garbage to industrial waste, and it may contain complex as well as some hazardous substances. So it is called as a solid waste. Nature and abundance in different countries. Now it depends upon the geographic location. What is the location, geographic location of that area? Then the climate, socio-economic conditions, degree of industrialization. The more degree of industrialization, more solid waste will get generated. Available resources, religious custom, behavior of consumer, lifestyle of people, and the season of the year. So all these matters depends all this depends the nature and abundance of the solid waste. Now, what are the risks associated with the with poor solid waste management? If this solid is not properly managed, what will happen? First of all, now this waste, it may act as a breeding ground for disease carriers. All the mosquitoes, they may lay egg there. Then it may be a breeding ground for some disease carriers such as mosquitoes, flies, etc. Due to that, there will be spread of diseases by direct contact. Air pollution is one risk. Contaminated water, fire risk, environmental pollution, then spread of diseases by animals and other waste. So, all these are some risks if the solid waste is not properly managed. Now, what are the sources of this solid waste? There are a number of sources. For example, household, commercial, institutional sources are there, municipal corporation is there, industry is there, agricultural field is there, biomedical is there, treatment plant is there, some construction and demolition sites are there. So, all these contribute for the solid waste generation. So, each and every component is responsible for production of what? Solid waste. Characteristics of solid waste. Now, these characteristics are divided depending upon the physical characters, chemical characters and biological characters. So, in detail we are going to study it in our next lecture. Now, types of solid waste. Now, this solid waste, okay, it is classified into different kinds of categories depending upon what is the source of its generation. So, first is household waste or municipal waste, which include food, paper, plastic, textile, leather, glass, metal, etc. Then industrial waste, all the chemicals, toxic chemicals, oil, debris, then debris from construction site, packaging waste, ashes, it is included in the industrial waste. Biomedical waste or hospital waste, the medicine bottles, used syringe, needles, expired medicines, medical instruments such as scissors, then blades, etc. They contribute to the biomedical waste or hospital waste. Then is agricultural waste. All the after cultivation, crop harvesting, okay, all the residual material can be counted as a agricultural waste, which includes it also includes pesticides, crops, water coming from the fields, also consists of some small amount of that pesticide or that toxic chemicals. Then nuclear waste, it includes radioactive substances which are coming from the reactors, fuel such as uranium, thorium, plutonium, etc. It is highly dangerous and requires the proper disposable method. Then hazardous waste, which may be toxic to all living kind, which includes toxic chemicals, acids, corrosive, ignitable and reactive materials, gases, etc. Now, types of waste according to the properties. Now, it is the waste depending upon the properties, it is divided into two types. The first is biodegradable and the second is non-biodegradable. Biodegradable means what? It can be easily degraded. For example, paper is there, wood is there, fruits and etc. Non-biodegradable means what? Which cannot be easily degraded or cannot be degraded. For example, plastics are there, bottles are there, old machine, containers, etc. So, these are the two types depending upon the properties. Now, composition of solid waste. Now, it depends upon the living standards, lifestyle, cultural and religious habits of the people, availability of resources, geographic location, season of the year and climatic condition. Management of solid waste. Now, it should be compatible with the following achievable principles. The first is public health. There should be decrease, the management should be like this, there should be decrease in the diseases. Environmental well-being, it should be in environmental well-being to ensure more hygienic and pollution-free living conditions. effective use of technologies, adaptation to cost effective and environmentally clean technology, responsiveness of stakeholders, involvement of whole community should be there, cost, optimization of the resources. Now management of solid waste. How to manage this solid waste? There is a concept, it is called as 3R concept, that is reduce, reuse and recycle. Reduce, reuse and recycle. So reuse. If you cannot prevent waste, then reuse it. For example, the cans are there, bottles are there, you can, as shown in the figure, you can use it, reuse it for some decorative purposes, etc. Recycle it. Use shopping bags made up of cloth which can be used over and over again against the plastic bags, or paper bags you can also use. Reduce. Reduce generation of unnecessary waste. So these are the 3R management system. Reduce is one of them. Now there are different methods of solid waste management. The following are some of the recognized methods such as sanitary fields, or it is also called as landfills, incineration, that is burning, waste compaction to reduce the waste to a smaller scale, then biogas generation where you can generate electricity, composting which can be act as a good fertilizer, and vermicomposting which can also be used as a very good manure or nutrient rich manure. But students, we are going to see this in our next lecture. Remember this, solid waste management, the blue dustbin, okay, it represents for paper, okay, paper waste you have to dispose in a blue container or blue dustbin. Then green for glass, the glass material you have to throw it in the green containers. Plastic, for plastic you have to use the yellow dustbins, and for metal you have to use the red dustbins. So students, always remember this. Now students, depending upon our today's lecture, there is a small assignment which you have to solve. You have to explain in brief solid waste management process. You have to write the specific answers, diagrams were required, and then you have to upload it in your Google Classroom. Now if we summarize our today's lecture, to summarize, proper solid waste management is an integral part of our environmental conservation that should be observed by both individuals and companies globally. So this waste should be properly managed. Recap, dear students, we are going to see different methods, landfill method, incineration, composting, biogas generation in our next lecture. So today we will stop here only and we will meet in our next lecture. Thank you.